All right, do me a favor and in the live chat section, put your name and just let me know who is here. All right, if you're in right now, go ahead and put your name in the live chat so I can tell who is here. And let me know how it sounds and if you can understand me or if there's an echo or anything like that. Let's see. All right, give me a second, guys. I'm trying to send a link out on Remind to see if everybody can get in there. Test shouldn't be very difficult tomorrow. If you've done the study guide, you should be prepared. My goal tonight is to just kind of go over some things um, from the study guide and maybe answer some of your questions. Give me a second. Y'all do me a favor here because I have no clue how to send out the link to this live chat. Uh, Emma, I'm not really sure what's happening right now. I'm trying to get more people into the chat room. Can y'all hear me okay? I'm getting kind of an echo on my side. It's kind of annoying, but if it's not a problem, then yes, sir. Okay. If it works, it works. If you're getting an echo, I really don't know how to modify that. Or how about now? Now, I might be a little better. All right. Still not working for some people to get in there. How did y'all find me on this YouTube? How can I help other people get in here? I've still got some people that are texting me on Remind, um, trying to get in here. there any way y'all can copy a link and maybe copy it to? All right. Never mind. Sarah made it. All right. Okay. I'm gonna send out one more. Let's see, type Sam Clark. Okay. All right. The questions are not going to be that much in depth. I think what I'm going to try to do here is read y'all some sample questions from the test. See if you can get kind of an idea of what to expect, and that way you're not just going into the test blinded. Somebody just asked, is it equal parts what we've been studying, or is there's more focus on what we've been studying than versus the um, Civil War stuff or prior to the Civil War. The goal of this test is not to trick you up. It's not to um, make your life miserable or anything like this. Obviously, we've got so much information that we have to cover, and you have to be able to remember this stuff, for another year and a half. So it's just my way, of making sure that the information that we learned at the first of the year hasn't escaped you while still being able to understand, obviously, what we've learned with the syllabus to get prepared for ultimately the IB exam that waits you after your senior year. All right, so I'm gonna quit rambling about that and just kind of try to answer some questions about this test. Uh, the question tomorrow, or the test tomorrow, will be on Socrative. Um, and so even I've had a few individuals that have come to me and said they don't like taking tests on Socrative. I'll have a paper copy printed out for you to take, but ultimately I want you to put your answers into Socrative because I'm lazy, and the easiest way to get you an immediate grade is put your answers into Socrative, and it gives you immediate feedback. And this will be a nice little change considering um, the fact that it took me half a semester to grade your last essays. So, all right. So the only question I've seen so far is how in depth are these questions going to be tomorrow? Um, I think the best way to answer that, I'm just going to start asking some questions, or give you some sample questions, and you can kind of get a taste of what my mind, my train of thought right here. And let's see. Okay. Can you touch on the different organizations? Yes. Meg, I'll address that first. This is pretty specific on the last circuit test for Little Unknown. What was the plan called? Yeah, it was the Blossom Plan. Jack will not have anything close to a question like that on the test tomorrow. All right, so let me touch on Meg's question first, and then Emma, I'll get to the Civil Rights Act. I mean, honestly, the Civil Rights Act, Emma, everybody that's in there, if you can look at what the Civil Rights Act of 1964 accomplished, um, eliminating public segregation, pretty much, eliminating all kinds of segregation in all public places. That's what it accomplished. Okay, so you know what? Just give me a second. I apologize for the pauses and everything as I try to figure out what's going here. Okay. Okay, Emma, the civil rights question that I'm looking at right here, I mean, it basically states the Civil Rights Act of 1964 did what? That's how it's worded. So if you know what it is and you've done the study guide, then you should be good there. Getting back to Meg's, can you touch on the different civil rights organizations? Let's see. I think okay. Know which civil rights organization helped organize the sit-ins at Woolworths? Do you know that one? Anybody? Which civil rights organization helped organize the Woolworths sit-in Greensboro? Your choices are CORE, SCLC, SNCC, NAACP. Yeah, Caroline, I'll get to. There's not a question about the March of Washington. There is a question about Bloody Sunday. Okay. Which civil rights group? All right. Look it up, Jack. SCLC is going to be your Christian leadership group. That's going to be who Martin Luther King was head of. Okay. CORE is going to be your individuals that organized the Freedom Rides. So your SNCC or SNCC, Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, are going to be the ones that organized the sit-in. Okay, so SNCC, SNCC, all right, affiliate them with the sit-ins, affiliate CORE, all right, with the Freedom Rides. Okay. Yep, there you go. There you go. All right, that's pretty cut and dry from tomorrow's test. That's really all I'm going to ask Meg, revolving around those groups. The only question I have about Bloody Sunday is why Martin Luther King and civil rights activists were in Selma in the first place? Yes, Meg, you're correct. That's not on the test tomorrow, though. Why was King and civil rights groups in Selma ultimately leading to the standoff of moving from Montgomery, or excuse me, from Selma to Montgomery? What were they protesting? Yeah, Grant, I'll cover that next. Okay, that's correct, Jack. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Let's go to Grant's question about generals and influential people in the Civil War. Guys, I took these questions directly off the test you've already taken. When we did the first part of the, what was it, the Gods of War? Yeah. Who's best associated with the March to the Sea? All right, leader of the Northern VA Army. Emma, no silliness. Eat your cheese pita. Fire guy. First Confederate President Jefferson Davis. All right. Hmm. Yeah, Carolina, I'll get to Uncle Tom's Cabin here in a sec. Correct, Meg. Stonewall. Yeah, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to, I'm gonna make sure I copy the entire chat and put that as a document on ManageBack. Mhm. You know what? I didn't mean to put hypochondriac. I meant to put a schizophrenic. Oh Lord. Okay. Um, I created this test late, Jack. I don't mean a hypochondriac. That means somebody. I meant to put schizophrenic. Here, that's a freebie. If you can associate that Stonewall Jackson always felt sick, being a hypochondriac, that's a freebie. Oh boy. Maybe he was. I can't. Maybe in the thing it was. Maybe it was a hypochondriac. I can't remember now. Who knows? Who knows? All right. Um, Caroline, Uncle Tom's Cabin. I think I only put one question about Uncle Tom's Cabin here. If people in all over the world would have read Uncle Tom's Cabin, what would they have assumed about the South? All right, let's go a little bit deeper than that. Like, let's uh, yep. GOAT does mean greatest of all time. What do you think the governments would have thought of maybe the governments of France, the individuals that were in uh, leaders of France, if they would have read Uncle Tom's Cabin? What do you think would have been their response or perspective? Okay, yep, Eli, that's true. Do you think that maybe France had some motivation of supporting the South leading into the Civil War? Yes, Emma, that's correct. Good, Caroline. Yes. All right. So each of y'all have the idea of what the purpose of Uncle Tom's Cabin is, and so obviously the individuals in other countries all over the world that if they would have read this, they would have got a true understanding of what's going on in the South, and obviously if they showed their support to the South, it would not be popular. goes back, I think, even the Battle of Antietam. We talked about. I'll tell you what, the only question I have about James Meredith is, what school did he try to um, help integrate? What university? And it's not UAB. All right, Ole Miss is it. Meg, your answer right here, Meg, is almost word for word the answer choice on the test. I'm not just spoon feeding it to you. Hunter, I put Ole Miss. I'm sorry. Yes, Meg, the one about Uncle Tom's. Sorry. Somebody said, is this straight spitting out facts? Pretty much. One of these questions, which of the following individuals was not part of the presidential election of 1860? Medgar Evers, Caroline, is simply an individual that was murdered, a civil rights activist. His murders would have kind of been kind of the influence behind the freedom schools. He would have had his hand in there, yeah. I think the way that I've got it, Meg, he wasn't a Signal Mountain man when he killed him, right? He moved to Signal Mountain. Where have I moved to? Yeah, Kate, he lives right over there by the grocery store, right behind it. What's the grocery store over back that way? He lives over by the McDonald's. Okay, Eastern Western Theater, simple facts. Where did most of the battles take place? Where did Robert E. Lee dominate? Where did the South actually lose the war? There's only 3 questions that are Eastern Western Theater. So just read over that information. Don't get confused with all y'all putting down east, west, west, east. Just know where actually the South lost the war or lost hopes of winning the war. Where did Lee have the most success? Those are not hard questions. You remember we talked about in Reconstruction the radical Republican ideas of what they wanted to do to kind of force the issue on the South. What were some of the things that they wanted to do to have their way to start reconstructing the South at post-Civil War? doesn't happen until 2017, Micah, or Jack. It was 40 acres, Meg, but they didn't necessarily have that in place. If you remember, they wanted to, like what's the word here? Organized the South into military zones. Federal troops within the South. Yes. They wanted strict punishment for Confederate leaders. I think somebody mentioned something about voting up there. Yes, Jack executed for treason. I mean, it was along those lines. Actually, Meg, don't let it be confused with what you said. The radical Republican idea would not have had provisions of 40 acres in there. Don't associate 40 acres with radical Republicans. All right, Antietam and Gettysburg. Who won the Battle of Gettysburg? All right. Because you got to know it, Benny boy. Battle of Gettysburg significance because once the North won that battle, what was the South morale? Did the South really even have a chance of winning the war after Gettysburg? And the answer is no. Pretty much once the North, once the Union had taken over Gettysburg, that was Lee's last attempt to try to move north, and obviously it failed, so let's just say the South was doomed. Yeah, they had a lot of dead people, maybe. Kind of hard to come back from that. Antietam, Nothing about nothing specific about Pickett's charges on this test. It's just knowing the understanding of the morale of the Confederacy after Gettysburg. The question with Antietam, the only question on the test deals specifically with um, how that battle influenced foreign influences in the Civil War, and that can be very similar to what you said about Uncle Tom's Cabin. Yes. I mean, Mike, I'm assuming that you're answering that in the sense that after the Battle of Antietam, with the, you know, Lincoln's pursuit or go ahead of the Emancipation Proclamation, and seeing the influence of the South being a complete supporter of slavery, and the North, taking, or the Union taking control, that it just kind of eliminated really any chance of the South getting any kind of reinforcements from European influences. What information can you give me about the Wilmot Proviso? This would have been prior to the Civil War, so all the information that we gave leading up to. Okay. Yes, Emma. Where, um, what where did the United States, where did they get that land from? Yes, it was like a billion years ago. Where specifically did, yes, Micah, yes, Jack, yes, the Mexican American what? Good job, Ellie. Yes. What was the most controversial thing about the Compromise of 1850? Alright, Fugitive Slave Act. Alright, sorry. Fugitive. Pretty much strengthened it for the South, worked out for the South. Wilmot Provisio Emma would have been before 1850. But there would have been, I have to go back and look at that. Okay. Dred Scott, why is the Dred Scott decision considered to be the worst decision ever by the Supreme Court? What is popular sovereignty? Yeah. Alright, that's Emma. All of y'all are correct, by the way. Yeah, you know I can't pronounce sovereignty. Sovereignty. Thanks, Ellie. Alright, yeah, pretty much just said that African Americans were not citizens, were not protected under the Constitution. Yes. How did the Kansas-Nebraska Act cause tension? Why did it cause tension? What specific compromise did the Kansas-Nebraska Act repeal? Nothing about 3/5 is on the test. Why was it every man for themselves, Lizzie? Like, who was fighting? Alright, I'm getting too many questions right here. Hold on. Eli, nothing about the 3/5. Lizzie, I think it's important to know yeah, border ruffians versus your free soilers or our free staters. The idea of popular sovereignty did create chaos. How done does the study guide need to be? Guys, I'm beyond, like if you were my freshman class and you're a freshman in high school, I would make the study guide mandatory to be done because it's the only way I could pretty much guarantee that they're going to study. You guys are juniors. The study guide was presented as just that, a study guide, something to help you study for the test. If you have a completed study guide and you turn it in, then I will work with you as maybe on putting points on a test or an assignment that you didn't do well on. Or maybe give you a buffer on this test if you miss some. But technically, I'm not going to force you to do you're not freshmen. If I were you, I'd do the study guide. Okay, Holy Lord, Caroline, I hope I can't remember if I put one on John Brown. I've got to put one on Harper's Ferry. Hold on. The only one I put on here about Harper's Ferry was John Brown's motivation. Why did he lead the raid on Harper's Ferry? Emma, what are you asking me about the email? What's going on there? That's it, Lizzie. Basically, John Brown's raid on Harper's Ferry was to provide the slaves with weapons and begin a revolt to end slavery. Absolutely, Jack. Oh, okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Um, Ellie, dealing with Reconstruction, look at, we went over radical Republican ideas of what to do in the South. I would know the Reconstruction Amendments, what the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment, what they were. Yeah. That's about it with Reconstruction. Failure. Can anyone explain to me how communism and the Little Rock Nine would be connected? Am I back on? Yep. It's kind of weird because I'm not getting it like a video seeing what I'm getting, so I'm just focusing on typing right now. Like I'll still try to talk, but I'm gonna respond more to what I'm seeing in the chat. Hey, Ellie, there's not a specific question dealing with why Lincoln was the GOAT. Okay. Out of all the questions that I put on that study guide, I probably did uh, the worst at trying to put Lincoln questions on there because each one that I got, there's just so much information about Lincoln, and I felt like if I put a specific question about Lincoln, it would be more geared to what I was specifically thinking versus just a specific fact that everybody should know. So um, I feel like we've done a good bit of just focusing on Lincoln, so there's not necessarily a specific question that deals with that. I hope you got all that. on ManageBack right now, I've put this entire transcript. Is now on ManageBack, and it's pretty much everything that questions that you asked. So if you want to look at that and see if that helps. Let's see. Yeah, the only thing you need to know about Jim Crow was separate but equal. What did Brown versus Board of Education overturn, Ellie? Yep. Kofo will not be on the test. Go back and look, Micah, because the 1860 know the candidates and know the Republican platform of what Lincoln wanted to do about slavery. Just remember Plessy versus Ferguson, the Supreme Court decision. Alright, was established you're separate but equal. Brown versus Board, technically yes, it was proving that there were some public accommodations that were not the same, even though they were separate. So the government, federal government, could now use Brown versus Board of Education to start integrating schools. They could use federal troops if necessary. Yeah, I mean, Lincoln, like I said before, Mike, and Lincoln in the 1860 election, kind of like any politician at this time, didn't. I mean, slavery was such a huge issue, and he knew he had to have this, like, some Southern support. So hey, we'll let slavery go on in the South, but we'll make sure it won't spread. Alright, it's about an hour and a half past my bedtime. If you got any questions now, you better repeat what, Hunter? Hey, and I don't know which one of y'all got me coffee, but thank you so much. 1860, know the candidates, and know Lincoln and the Republicans' motivation or platform or its views, stance on slavery. I'm date Nate. Nice to meet me. Come on, that was a pretty good impression. All right, you guys are great. I'll see y'all in the morning.